Hello, everybody. You made it to Cheryl's place. Look at this fabulous person I have here. Your pal, Misty, but we like to say our pal, Misty. Hey, Misty, welcome.
Howdy, everybody. Thanks for having me, Cheryl. I appreciate it. Thank you for
Always.
rescheduling for me the last time when I was so sick. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, that was not a good cold virus, whatever that thing is.
No,
That took a lot out.
it's still taking out a little bit, but much, much better.
Oh, we are so happy. Yeah, that stuff's going around. It's taking people
Hmm.
out for a few weeks. So that's no
Yeah.
joke.
Nope.
And I want to say hello, everyone that's in the chat. Welcome. We just think that's fabulous. You want to come see us and hear what we have to say. So thank you. We love you. Sending out love to everybody there. Well, I was saying to Misty, I actually have gotten some new followers and I'm not really familiar with them. So I was curious if, Misty, are you okay with starting how your expedition you started and where you're at now? And then we'll move on to more current things.
Sure, absolutely. For the weight loss, my little elevator spiel is that several years ago, back in 2016, I basically almost died and then realized that's not what I wanted to do. After basically passively killing myself, being around 330 to 350 pounds for most of my adult life, definitely most of my 30s and into my 40s, and then decided after a work trip that I needed to be healthier because it was in 2019 and I was supposed to be traveling. That did not happen because of everything that happened in the world. But I was already in the process and then started to feel great. And then about a year into it, a little year and a half, I started into fitness. Then met our coach, Kirsten, over at Quick Fit Home Workouts, as well as some other coaches. But she just really made me believe in myself and that I could do it. And now that has become pretty much my identity. Is it's the thing that I love the most. It helps me mentally, it helps me physically, it helps me spiritually in all of the ways that I need to be a healthy and well-rounded person. So fitness has changed my life, and the weight loss comes along with that. So that's
And the
just sort
thing
of
is
my
you
short
did the
little
hard
fit.
work. You put in the hard work, and you are. I'm not sure exactly, but we're sure. No, you're over 100 some pounds lost.
Yeah, I haven't done an update in a long time just because I for a long time had stopped trying to drop
Sure.
any weight, so there
Yeah.
was nothing really to update. But I am up several pounds since then. I'm probably very quickly going to go back onto a fat loss
Mhm.
journey to drop some of these extra weights now that my brain is finally caught up. I started thinking I was too small, even though I was not. I was in healthy ranges and could drop even more weight, but my brain was not prepared for that. But now my brain is sort of caught up and is like, oh, yeah, you can definitely drop some more of those
Mhm.
pounds of fat in you while increasing, what muscle mass I can through the fitness. And that's sort of where I am now. Figuring out how exactly I want to do that to feel my best and still be able to fuel my workouts and just have a nice slow steady weight drop from there to feel a little bit more healthy. So
Oh yeah, because
uh,
you've gained a lot of muscle, and you have a lot of muscle that you've gained since starting. Because just like all of us, we started out with the little weights, and you've worked your way up to about what 20 plus pounds on certain exercises.
yeah, for the workouts that we do with coach, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm going to the gym now, so I'm hoping to progress in strength in that regard as well, so it's more isolated movements and things like that, whereas we use dumbbells, but it's more of a cardio strength kind of thing. It's more muscular endurance versus muscular strength. Of course, the more you lift those weights, the stronger you get. So yeah, I actually got a 20-pound dumbbell set that I'm excited to use more often, but then had that little setback of sickness, and I'm building back up slowly to that. So I've been using 15s and 20s for most exercises. Sometimes I use my 25-pound kettlebells, but yeah, I started with little like 3-pound hand weights, and those felt really heavy when I was using those. So it's definitely a progression Not a quick one, but it is definitely
Yeah.
progress. So yeah, gaining muscle and losing fat is sort of going to be the goal for the rest of the year.
Well, through my experience, I kind of know this answer, but I'm curious if you would like to share. When you dropped that big amount of weight, can you share how your body felt, like your joints, your hips, your ankles, whatever maybe that maybe were bothering you when you were at your heaviest to how it feels now?
Yeah, so one of the biggest problems that I have is both with my shoulder, which I've had surgery on twice, and my knee, which I've had surgery on as well. I have bone on bone arthritis, I guess is what you would call it, in the knee. It's there's nothing left there, and
Yeah.
that's from weighing 350 pounds, all that weight on those joints. And when I first started, I had to use a lot of assistance to do like squats and lunges and things like that. But as I have gotten all of the muscles around all of those joints stronger
Mhm.
and doing the different movements, working on mobility, it has decreased the pain. So I still may not do a lunge all the way to the floor because that is hard on my knee. But
Mhm.
I do as deep as I comfortably can while still, building those muscles around. So the inflammation in the body was taken care of a lot by the diet that I was on, but also just dropping the weight helps with that as well. When you're trying to push up 350 pounds or even sit from a chair at 350 pounds, it's definitely a lot different than trying to do that at about 190, 195 where I am now. Um, so
And
yeah,
then
it,
plus
it
the
made a
small
world.
little non-scale victories. We can bend over and tie our shoe with no effort. Because sometimes when your stomach is in the way, it's hard to bend over to tie your shoe. So along the way, a lot of non-scale victories too,
Oh, for
besides
sure. I'm still
weight.
learning things about this new body because
Yeah.
even though it's always the one I was living in, this one functions much differently than the one that I had. If I needed to go to the grocery store, it would be a plan of attack of what all exactly am I getting? What's the quickest way to walk in and out? I my belly touching my steering wheel when I drive, made it even cumbersome to drive. The seat belt is at its, maximum extension and cutting into you. So all of those things just slowly over time changed down to little things now where when I was bigger, my mom always made fun of me for shuffling my feet and, taking little tiny steps, but I was scared to fall
Yeah.
because at 350 pounds, you're probably going to hurt yourself a lot more than, once you're more physically able and not weighing that much. Even to now, where I've noticed I've been working on my actual gait, like how I walk. I realized that I never used my hips to walk. I would only just push my foot out as far as it could. And that's also why I took little steps. So it's down to the smallest things of even raising my arm above my head, which I could do now. And when I started, it was maybe at, 25 degrees less of an angle. So just slowly over time, working on things, learning things. I learn new things all the time. I'll tell y'all, I'll tell coach, I'll be like, hey, did you know that I couldn't do this because of this? It's like my brain is just like, what? Like even in today, we were doing a workout and she had us do these with our legs behind us doing circles. And my whole body was like, what? What are you doing? We don't do that move because it was a new move. So it's
Yeah.
still constantly not being afraid to challenge myself to try new things and new movements in this body and figuring out how it works and how to better it so that, walking properly will help my knee hurt less and things like that. Lifting properly will help my shoulder hurt less. And so all of those things just to feel the best in the body, that I have. But realizing that it has changed drastically from what it was. And I'm sort of like a baby just learning all of
Relearning.
these little pieces of the changes and how to implement that into this body. has been a fun experience for me. I like learning new
Yeah.
things, and it's every day. Sometimes, well, I do learn something new every day, but even just about my own body, it feels like very often I'm just like, oh, that's what it's all these different things. So yeah, it's been very fascinating for me to sort of see it, as a brand new body, like somebody just dumped me in here. What are you going to do with it? Well, you have to learn,
Yeah.
and the best way to do that is just slowly over time. People want, quick fixes. There's on social media right now, all the talk of your summer body. If I'm here to tell you though, if you didn't start like a year ago, you're
Yeah.
probably not going to get that summer body you were looking for. Um, it's not a quick process, especially for
Yeah.
those of us who are on the overweight side. It's not like you just fix everything about it. It's a constant being on top of it mentally, physically, spiritually, to stay, where you are and to continue to progress.
Well, and there's something that I noticed about myself is before I gained some of this weight back, it was like when I was doing things, I still had the mentality I was so big. And then
Mm.
when I was doing the thing, like, wow, I can't believe how that easy this is now, or whatever I was doing, I couldn't do before. But I'm like, oh, I better not do that because whatever I thought in my head, because that was when I was overweight, way overweight. And I was like, no, my knees are going to hurt for 2 weeks because if I do this or something in that way. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
they,
Absolutely. When I started for a 5K walk that we were going to do, the 5K in May back in 2021. It was
yeah,
LB at Pine Trees and Stars that
yeah,
was doing it. And I started by walking like a third of a mile. And then just every week I would increase a third of a mile, and had a plan that I had sort of built out in my head to be able to walk the 3 miles. And now, on any given day, if you were like, "You want to go walk?" No matter what else I had done, I could go walk 3 miles. Uh, I do it frequently.
it's
So
just
I
amazing.
do
It's
multiple
amazing.
workouts a day. But yeah, when I was first losing weight, and still even now, it's letting your brain catch up. That's why I had dropped even more weight than where I am now, and then put on weight because of medication, really. But then I was kind of like, I'm kind of comfortable at this weight, but that doesn't mean that it's the healthiest for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get out of that mindset of where I feel comfortable and where I can actually go. But I've always said when I was losing weight, my favorite was fitting in stuff because I didn't fit in anything. I can go to any store and I can buy clothes. That still just shocks me. Like, I can get it. I can go to Sam's Club. I can go to Walmart. I can go anywhere and I could buy clothes. Not that I'd want to buy the clothes from most places because clothes confuse me, but whew, that's another story. But just fitting in stuff, fitting in cars, fitting
Yeah.
in rides, fitting in
Yeah.
booths, fitting in chairs. I don't
Roller
have,
coasters, anything you can do.
yeah,
You can do it
all
on them.
types of rides. But even just going to a restaurant and
Yeah.
not
Oh, having the
worrying.
booth, like,
Yeah, sometimes it would be hard to eat at the restaurant just because it was so uncomfortable because it was right up against me the whole entire time, or part of me was on top of it.
yeah,
Even to where I used to think I was one of the messiest people because every time I washed my hands, my shirt would get wet. Do you know what fixed that? Taking away the belly.
yeah, yeah.
Now, it turns out I'm not very clumsy. I was just very fat. And that's the truth. So yeah, it's definitely been interesting and
Well,
fun.
and then this led you to become certified as a coach. So now you are a coach in fitness. I'm not sure the exact title. I'm sorry, Misty. I forgot what it is.
That's okay. I'm a certified personal trainer with the American Council on Exercise, and within the next month, we'll have my group fitness certification as well. I've done
I
most
knew
of
it's
the studying
American,
for
but
that.
after that, I couldn't remember. So
Yeah, there's so many different organizations that you can get certified with. I mean, if you wanted to, you could get certified today, but I wanted to get certified with a reputable company
yeah,
that had years of experience and things like that. And so, a lot of the coaches that I knew, including ours, that's who they were certified through. It's definitely not one of the easiest ones. It has like a 60 to 70% pass rate, which is not very high. So you have to
Well, we
take the
want
time, you have to
people
know the information.
representing and learning, making sure where if you're representing them that you do know your stuff and you're not going out there, harming people or yourself or whatever because you truly don't know what you've read and tested on.
Oh no, did I freeze or did you?
I don't know if it
Hello?
was me or you. Did you hear me?
Oh, no, I did not. Sorry, something happened and then I saw circles. So I did not
You know
hear
what?
what
It
you
could
just
be
asked
us.
me about.
I noticed earlier today it's been slow. They're doing some kind of work outside. Oh darn tootin', what did I ask? Oh, I think because it's such a harder test, is they want to make sure that you're representing them well and that you know all your information and you're not going to accidentally harm somebody or yourself or anyone. Well, that you have the certification through them, so they want to make sure it is a harder test. You know your stuff before you go out
Mhm.
and perform.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. They want to make sure that everybody is, representing them as a company, but also able to take care of the people who, become their clients. So, for me, it was really just learning all of the information to be my own best coach. Um, but coaching others is definitely something that I want to do as well.
Well, you and I, we like to help people and train and do all these things. So this is just right in your wheelhouse, anyways. So it's just an extra bonus that this sparked you while you were on your weight loss expedition, got into fitness. You're like, man, I dig this stuff. I'm going further with it. Not everybody would think that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I certainly had a push for it on one of our. Oh, it might have been the very first live stream we did together. Kirsten called me a coach, and I laughed in her face because I thought that was ridiculous. But turns out, you can be a coach at any size. Um, but yeah, it's definitely been interesting. I've learned a lot. They're like, we're only going to have to learn a few of the bones of the body. Here's like 70 of them. I'm like, that's like a third. I don't need to know. Anatomy and physiology has never really been my jam, but yeah, there is a lot to learn, just even down to like the decibels of how loud the music should be in group fitness. They cover everything, which
Oh,
is great.
wow.
And
Interesting.
one of the reasons why I chose them to go back for my group fitness certification, because I like the layout of how they, teach and their reputation that they have when you're looking to do things in fitness for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
these are things that I
the
do
best.
know that you're doing. I'm sure there's other things you're doing that I'm not aware of, but you've been actually doing more coaching with the Fit Squad. Because at first you
Mhm.
kind of would do a couple Saturdays if Kirsten was on vacation or whatever. Now it's more. If they're on vacation, sometimes it's during the week, and then you got to do a great one, which I missed this Saturday because I'm a bonehead. That Kirsten followed you. You were coaching Kirsten.
Yeah, that
So
was
how is
super
that
fun for
feeling to
me.
you?
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, I always just fill in. That's all I've ever done. But I love it. And she needs, well, I say you need to take a break. I haven't missed a Saturday since we started this like 3 years ago. She started the Fit Squad and I joined instantly. So I've been there every workout. So I'm like, I'm there. I have learned the information on how to do it. And dadgum, I've done enough of her exercises to be able to put something together. And I actually really like the programming part of it, thinking about, what style you're going to do, what exercises you're going to do, making it challenging for those who are more advanced, but also accessible for those who are not that advanced or just beginning, because we do have all skill sets and levels within the Fit Squad. So yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. I sent her just a funny reel about, when two coaches get together and how scared everybody's going to be. She's like, yeah, we should do it together. And I was like, well, I mean, that's the thought. I just thought it was funny. And then I was like, that would be really fun for me if you want to. I was like, I can do part and you can do part. She's like, yeah, let's do it for the hour. So yeah, getting to lead my coach through a workout. It's probably the first time anybody's led her through a workout in ages. I don't even know how long it's been since somebody else has, done the workout. And I know as someone who programs workouts, it can sometimes be hard to follow somebody else's, but luckily for her, she taught me pretty much everything I know. So she knew I wasn't going to come up with anything that was unfamiliar to her. But yeah, it was super fun. It made me feel good. Everybody thought it was a good workout. And then I let her finish us off so that they would love me more, because I got them real tired, and then she whooped her behinds, and I was like, y'all liking me more now? But no, it was super fun, and she was very complimentary. She always gives me compliments and feedback when I do, because we record them to put on her members section of her channel. So, she'll watch them and give me feedback on them and things like that. So it's always nice to get, feedback and critiques from someone that you respect and has been doing this for, over 30 years. So yeah, it was very nice and fun, and everybody seems to like the workouts. I know I like them. So sometimes
No,
that's
I like
enough
them
for other
too. I like them
people.
too. I'll just be coming and walking. That's all I get to do for a while now.
Hey,
Boring.
that's movement though.
It is movement, but yeah. Okay, enough. I don't want to talk about me. We're here to talk about Misty. Woohoo! Okay, so that part I know, and I do know part of that. You created a group with your mom, and I don't know if it's just family and friends or just family, but you create a program, and is it like a monthly program or a weekly program for your mom and the ladies or the families?
Yeah, well, I haven't been doing that recently. I did for months and months. I would send them a plan every week, and they would just do the same routine every week. And now they're doing it on their own, just one, because they knew I had become very busy and things like that. But yeah, it's just her and my aunt now. It was the people who had worked with my mom actually going to be selling their business soon so that they can both officially retire. So it's right now it's just her and my aunt, but yeah, my mom is actually getting back into it a little bit more. And then there are other people that I help with their plans, when they ask, and, follow up for accountability and things like that. And then, I'll talk to anybody who wants to talk about it. And we'll be starting more. I had started a sort of series and then sort of fell out when I got really sick. But I always say I want to be people's gateway to fitness. I just cannot state enough how much, even though the weight loss was great, the fitness changed my life. It changed my mentality. It changed my connection to people. It literally changed everything about me. And I know that seems really, big and bold to say, but it's absolutely the truth. And I think anybody who knows me and has followed along knows that it's true for me. Even when I was sick, even though I think I fell asleep during one of the workouts when I was real sick, I was still there. I was sitting in this chair and I was doing, my deadlift was just touching my toes and coming back up, because that's all I could do. But mentally and spiritually, like, I have to be connected to myself. I have to be connected to my body. I have to take that quiet time to just be, even though there are other people there and they're chattering and she's giving instruction. It's really just me here in the house. Or even when I go to the gym, I know there's a lot of people there, and I know a lot of people worry about who's looking at them. I couldn't tell you who was in the gym on any given day unless they talk to me.
Yep.
I'm just there to do my thing. My brain gets really quiet. I can focus and just have that me time. And I know just through pretty much everybody that I've met that movement always helps.
Yeah.
It's not going to always help you lose weight, right? A lot of people think the more cardio I do, no. Well, weight loss is 95% mental, 4% food, 1% fitness. But that 1% changes so many of the other things and makes them so much easier. And there's just so much science backing strength training that it's hard to overlook the benefits of putting on muscle mass, and things like that. I won't get too far into the weeds on that, but there's just so much scientific research backing the benefits of strength training, especially as most of us in our community are in the 40 and over crowd, right? And especially for women.
I'm in the 40 crowd. Whoop, no,
I'm still in the 40 crowd right now, but not very long. excited.
Soon you're
I'm
going to be in
excited.
my crowd, the
Yeah,
50s. Woo,
yeah.
woo.
In just a couple of months, I'm very excited about it because I certainly never thought I'd make it to 50. And now I'm hoping for another 50 more. So,
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm there with you. I hope that for you too.
Mhm.
So, and you've kind of mentioned that you're doing with individual people too. They call you maybe a food program or exercise program. You're working individually. And do you see this, whether you get a regular job for now or what, this is going to be where you really would like your career to go into with just coaching, maybe a gym or Zoom or whatever? I just don't know all the places that you can utilize. So,
Yeah, I wish I knew the full answer to that question. What I would like to say is I would like for what I do for a career to be related to fitness. I don't really do much with food, and as a personal trainer, we can't do much with food. We can just explain what what the food pyramid is and what macros are and things like that. Um, but yeah, I'd like for it to be related to fitness. How is still undetermined. But I'd love to do some personal coaching as well as online, sessions would come with that, of course. And then maybe one day even doing, group fitness would be super fun for me because that's sort of what really got me into it. And I really like the group aspect of it because community is important and community helps with accountability, just having those friends who have the same goals as you, who understand the importance of what you're doing and that you're going to do it because it's important, not because you necessarily always feel like it. Um, so I wish I could answer that, but yes, I'd
no,
like for it to be
that's a goal or
fitness
thought that you would
related.
like
Yeah, I'd
to
like for
do.
it to be fitness related. How exactly? I don't know. I would
Yeah.
love to have an online coaching platform, to coach different people and help them get that movement in their body and to build muscle. Because of all of the research that shows that it's so important, and because of the fact that I have done it and can personally not only explain how, and people can even go back and see how,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So people can follow that journey. It's not that a coach has to have been, heavy to really explain it to you, but it really does help when you know that that person not only understands it from a knowledge standpoint but understands it from a mental
Yeah.
standpoint because again it's mostly mental.
Mhm.
um you know
I know
I
I'm on the
wish.
struggle bus right now. You know that of me. You haven't seen me for what, a week and a half at boot camp. So yeah, I'm mentally checked out right now. I need to get back checked in.
Yeah, and one of the easiest ways to check back in is to move your body.
Yep.
And if you have a community that's willing to do that with you, even better. Even if you just show up and walk in place. Even if you just show up. Because I'll be honest, that week, it was mostly me just being there because being here by myself was not good for my mental health. Even just hearing them doing things, even if I wasn't fully doing it, or like that whole week, I didn't pick up a weight.
Yeah.
There was no weights involved at all, and there was a lot of sitting, but it still made me feel better physically and mentally. There's never been a time, if my body says you cannot move, then I don't. But if my brain is telling me you shouldn't, I just tell it to shut up because
Yeah.
there hasn't been a time when my brain has told me that movement was bad where it was right.
Oh, we can talk ourselves out of anything, that brain of ours. It
Yeah.
just
Don't feel about it. Just do
yeah.
it. People are
Yeah.
like, well, I feel too tired. I feel too busy. You can feel all these types of ways about all things, but just do them anyway.
Mhm.
You can feel like you don't want to feed your kid, but I bet you're going to. You may not like it. You may not be happy about it. You may think it's time consuming, but I bet you're going to feed your kid. It's,
Yeah.
it's one of
Yeah.
those things.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. No, I agree with you 1,000,000%. I notice the difference. I just have been in my fields and I just got to get out of them.
yeah,
So
just
that's,
do it anyway. Don't feel about it. Just
yeah,
do it.
just do it.
And then
No, I
see how
agree.
you feel.
Yeah. No, I do feel better. Maybe I'm sleepy and need a nap a little bit afterwards because I, gave everything I had. But I think that's the worst ever. Besides that weird thing that happened that one day for myself. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, they always say it's the backwards pyramid with working out, right? How can I work out when I don't have any energy? Well, working out gives you energy, but if you don't do it, you don't get it.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, you can push
absolutely.
yourself so hard to where you may need a nap or you may need to, take some time to recover, and that's okay. If your
Well, yeah,
body
because you
is
still
telling
feel good that you
to
accomplished it
rest,
and
then
you
you
did it. Whether you took the nap or you needed a nap or not, you still feel, oh, I did that. I gave that. I sweated that, or whatever you're feeling at the time, at the end of the workout. You know, everyone
yeah,
has
not
to,
only mentally but physically.
yeah.
It gives you the dopamine, it gives
Yeah.
you more energy. The more you do, the more you can do.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree. So now I'm going to go back to the working thing. What would be your ultimate? Let's say you had enough money for everything, you could do anything. Would you open up your own studio if that was the option? Would that be something that would you would like?
Never thought about that. So I don't
Well,
I that's way too far in the future for me.
okay.
I'm just
Okay.
trying to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow. So it's a great question. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't ever open a thing like that. I don't know anything about it, so it's not on my radar of things that I
Sure.
would do. I would more just like to work with people in whatever setting and whatever format works best for them to be able to help in whatever ways I can, right? The thing that I've been saying recently is I want to be people's gateway to movement. I want to be your entryway into it because I know all the benefits of it in all aspects of life that I find are important mentally, physically, spiritually, right? I want to help people do that. Will that be owning a gym? Will that be an online coaching platform? Will that be? I have no idea. It's all still brand new to me. I don't even know what I like best because I'm just trying different things. So regardless of how much money I have, I wouldn't be able to say exactly other
Okay.
than I want to help people move more.
Well, and talking about going in the gym, you recently have been trying new machines you've never used before. So that's exciting. And
Yeah, yeah, it's very exciting for me because I rejoined Planet Fitness because I've been unemployed and I needed something to do. And I have been wanting to increase my strength. And one way to do that is in the gym. And I know if I'm going to do an online platform for people or work with people, some people like to go to the gym to work out. And I wanted to be able to understand the machines and understand how to program those into different workouts. Give me a set of bands or a dumbbell, I can make you a workout all day, every day, because that's my sweet spot. And I
yeah,
still use dumbbells even in the gym for certain exercises just because it's the way I prefer to do the exercise. But yeah, I try the different machines just to get myself into that world of how do they work, and then to see how they progress. So yeah, I try to do a new machine every day because I just haven't. I even when I went to Planet Fitness, it was mainly treadmill, and things like that. So I wasn't using anything but the very basic of machines, leg curl, leg extensions, biceps, triceps, like the major muscles, but
yeah.
using things like a hack squat or a assisted pull up or the bench press that I did the other day using the Smith machine, which is something that I've done a few times now, just again, because I know how beneficial they can be for people. And I want to I practice on myself, right?
Oh,
For
sure.
me, it's not just about reading it a lot of times. I have to be able to do it and experience it to have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
So, not that I still wouldn't suggest things for people, but having an opinion on what works best for me, right? How would
Mhm.
I know if it works best if I've never tried it? So, anytime I get to learn something new is an exciting day for me, and being able to test new equipment is something that's new and
Mhm.
therefore very exciting. And I'm increasing my endurance and my muscles and things like that. And like I said, that's what I want to do just because I know how good it is for health regulated.
Well, you bring up a good point is because you're using free weights compared to some of the equipment. It's actually, there is a little bit of difference of give and pull. And some people are not, due to health or injury, may not be able to use the free weights, and where the machine, because it's fluid and a little bit smoother, and you're not really going to, jerk your arms or legs or whatever have you. That, so I do commend you for trying the new machines, because I do find that very important, because if you're going to be talking about them and someone lets you know, their whole life story, what's going on with their body, you do need to know what's best for them to try and get, have less injury or pain, using the machines. Because especially if they just got done with the injury and they've already done the physical therapy, maybe they still have a little pain going on, and you want to make sure it doesn't get worse by using a certain machine or the free weights.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if there's someone with an injury and they're working with a doctor as a personal
Yeah.
trainer, I should also have that information that the doctor has and what restrictions the doctor has given you so that I can build a plan around that. But like if somebody came and said, they had a lot of knee pain, I would start building their hamstrings, their
Yeah.
glutes, their quads, all of the muscles that people think maybe don't think are related to your knee actually
Yeah.
not doing all of the work.
Yeah.
If you strengthen the muscles around a joint, the joint's not doing all of the work and not taking all of the pressure.
Yeah.
And so knowing how all of that works and which machines can best target things. And like you said, for a lot of beginners, free weights are hard because it takes a lot to do a free weight. It's not just moving the weight. Like if you're doing a bicep curl in the gym on the machine, you're sitting down and you're
Yeah.
just pulling it, and you're just using there are other muscles, right? But it's
Yeah.
just that one thing basically. Whereas if you're standing up, you're using your core, you're using your legs, you have to be stacked appropriate. So there's a balance. There's a lot more that goes into it, and just understanding how each of those things can help in whatever situation
Yeah.
has been really fun for me. And anything that's fun, I want to do more of and learn more about. And luckily, Planet Fitness has recently got a lot of new equipment. And then I had the brand new gym open me, so they have even newer equipment or
Cool.
equipment that's slightly different, than some of the other ones. So it's been fun for me to learn all of this new stuff, and challenging myself to do it, because the old Misty would only do machines that she understood. There have been a few machines that I had to look at it. I had to scan the little thing and be like, how do I do this machine? What
Yeah.
is this machine? What is it for? What is the benefit? Because a lot of times I'll be doing an exercise. I'm like, what am I working here? Because if
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm working, my body's going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a lot of fitness activity is your body's a cheater. It'll cheat in all the ways. If you
Yeah.
say move this from point A to B, it'll do it, but it may hurt you in doing it if you don't know the proper way to do it. So I'm not scared to be standing there at Planet Fitness looking up the assisted pull-up machine and be like, exactly how do I use this thing? I understand the weight is going to help me. Is it reverse weight? What am I doing here? I'd never used it before. I'm like, I don't understand this machine at all, right? Where something like the chest press, where it was plate loaded, which is new for the gym. They used to just only have, weights that were there. I understood that machine, so I didn't have to look it up, right? But
Yeah.
I still had never done it. And so it felt different, but it's always good to, to do that. Bye, Lori.
Yeah, good. Awesome getting your workout in. Go, girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
when years ago, I did have a trainer at Gold's Gym, and they do their little routine, and I go off and do things by myself. Well, I think there might have been there's cell phones, but I think I just had the Razor. I think the BlackBerry was more, where people would send messages. So,
Mhm.
I didn't send messages or look anything up on my phone at that time. It wasn't available to me. So I'd have to ask somebody, or if I was doing it thinking, oh, this is how you do it, someone would be real nice and say, hey, can I show you how to use that? You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
And so I like that someone was offered, to help, teach me, because I'm like, I would watch other people. Well, that doesn't mean everyone's using the machine right. People use the machine however they want, and maybe that's not what it's really made for. So I think I was following, someone else, what they were doing, and then someone came over and said, you really should let's try it this way. And then I could feel it was working my back, I felt what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can go to a bicep curl machine and do other exercises other than a bicep curl, but it doesn't mean that's what that machine was intended for. But if I'm at a machine, I do kind of want to know what it's intended for. And I'm not scared to ask questions, and I'm not scared to look things up. Like the first day I used the Smith machine, I don't even really know if I said this, but I went to the biggest guy using the Smith machine. Promise, because I'm like, he must know what he's doing because he's jacked. Yep. And he was probably like my age, like 50, 60 even, like, an older gentleman compared to most. But he was the biggest guy there. I was like, can I please ask you a question? I was like, I've been doing fitness for a while. I love lifting, but I have never used this machine. Could you give me just the basics? And he probably spent like 5 minutes explaining how the stops are, how to move the thing, how to put it on and off, and how much the bar weigh, and all this stuff. And I didn't need the level of information that he gave me, but I was still happy to have it. I just wanted to know the basics, like what's the safety? I understand, basic essentials of how it works, but is there anything tricks to it or anything that I need to know? Yeah. But being not afraid to ask is definitely a benefit, because a lot of people will go to the gym and they're worried about what everybody else is thinking. And for the people who are there to only care about what others are doing, those people are going to rat themselves out very early. Most people only care about themselves because you're working out. And if you're thinking about other things, you're screwing up what you're doing, and you're not wasting your time. You're not being there to screw up what you're doing. You're being there to focus and get it done. So
I agree.
for me, that's not a problem.
The trainers, because Rick did pay for me, and I had some lessons and stuff with the trainer coach, and so like I said, afterwards I would go work out, and I'd go use the free weights and the bench, and maybe I'd be laying on my back or be on the knee, whatever. And there were some guys that were watching me. I know they weren't watching me because they thought I was hot or anything, or she's super fat. They were like, we don't see girls over here. It was more of, we don't see girls using these. And so I kind of was like, yeah, I'm growing some muscles, that on my head. But it's like, it's not a lot of women. Not, I shouldn't say a lot. There are women who are afraid to use free weights. And I think it's awesome that Kirsten really pushes that for all of us and whoever else is going to join in the future. Because, I can understand where it might be scary. Like, you might think you're going to drop it on your head, or you're going to get too big of muscles. You're not. You have to take some steroids to get giganto muscles. Yeah. So, so I just think that it's awesome when women start using the free weights, because I do know a lot of women are afraid of them.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to even see them on the machines. I'm not going to lie. Even when I'm there, it's still mostly the women are on the bikes and the ellipticals and the treadmills. And that's great. And there's nothing wrong with cardio at all. But you need strength as you get older. And so the more you can do that, the better in my mind. Sure. So, but I've had people I had a guy tell me he was excited I was there. He's like, I hope other girls come out on the floor, because no girls come out here and use the weights like that. I was like, well, maybe they'll see one and then they'll do it. And I was talking to a guy, he was 76, I think he said he was about to be 77. He'd had 2 different knee replacements, and he was like, but I'm still here and I'm doing it because I don't want a third one, right? So it's just, I've had some guy tell me, man, you recover fast. I'm like, perk of being a girl, we recover faster. We just can't lift as heavy. So, I might be able to lift the same amount of weight as you do, just not in one time. It might take me, but within 5 minutes, we've both lifted the same amount of pounds. If you take how many times you take it and press it or take it and pull it, I'm probably lifting as much weight as they are, but it's in smaller increments quicker. Perk of being a girl, right? So knowing that too, knowing the difference between how females can train and how males can train is even an important thing to know and to recognize. But the biggest thing is you can watch other people to learn how they do things, right? It doesn't mean you have to do that. It doesn't mean they know what they're doing, right? But it doesn't mean that it won't work either. So, there's all these videos online of people like making fun of exercises. You don't know why that person is doing that exercise. There's probably a reason.
Yeah.
So just leave them alone and let them work out. And I find that 90% of people do that. And if I do have any conversation, it's normally asking me a question, which I've had a few people ask me questions after they see me use a machine, or I see someone struggling with a machine and I'll ask them, if they have any questions. I was like, I've used that before. Do you have a question on it? I don't know how to make the seat move was the one the other day. I was like, oh, that's a little yellow thing. She's like, oh, that's so easy. I was like, right, exactly. But I've had to be that person too. When I was using the calf raise, I had to find somebody. I'm like, how does this thing work? They're like, you just have to lift it up and then move this bar over. I was like, oh, that's super. I should have been able to figure that out, but my brain is like,
you've never seen anyone use it and you've never touched it. What do we know? Especially like moving the seat. I remember getting on, and she's like, "Oh, how are people getting on here?" The thought of moving the seat didn't even occur to me till I seen someone do it. I'm like, oh, we can move seats.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If someone's watching you, it's probably more to figure out how do I do that. But I think the more women who get out there and do it, then the less afraid other women will be of doing it. And to your point, the excuse that so many women get is, I don't want to get too bulky. Boo, you're not going to get too professional bodybuilding is one of the more dangerous sports. There was even a girl recently who died at the Arnold. She wasn't even competing, but she had dehydrated herself to look her best, and all these things. You're not going to look like a lot of them ladies. Just get out there and move your body, put some muscle on to help all of your joints, to build bone density. It just does so many good things for you. And then there's all of the added mental health benefits. It makes you smarter, literally. I know that sounds so strange to people, but there are scientific people out there who do all these studies, and they have proven that it helps keep your mental acuity sharper. So you are smarter. Well, you may not be smarter, but you're smarter for longer, right? You don't lose it as quickly. And I can definitely tell on days that I don't work out, my mental clarity is nowhere near on the days that I do.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that. And wholeheartedly, I agree with that. And then my age and people or even older than me, we really have to work on our balance. I would say in the last couple of years, I truly noticed my balance is not where I want it to be. So I work on that. But it's still like makes me think of like when you said you were taking those little steps. It's like my body wants to go back to doing how it was. I'm like, no, we can't, because I need to be stronger to balance and, maybe lift these boxes for Rick's treatment or etc. And so balance, I think, is super important with the strength training. So for obviously reasons, falling, whatever, the older we get. But balance is a big thing the older we get that we have to work on too.
Absolutely. Falls are the thing that normally start older people and put them in nursing homes, and then they don't last long after that. Because once you take a big fall, it's harder to move. And most older people stop because then they're afraid to move too much. I mean, that happened to my grandmother. She fell on her front porch while she was sweeping. She had a crack in the sidewalk that we'd been complaining about forever to her landlord. And within like the next year, she was gone. So it is very important for balance and working out, with weights and resistance. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just even your body weight is still resistance if you know how to do it. But balance is huge.
Oh yeah. And that's something I've been really working on these last couple of years, because I've been noticing, my body is like wants to tip over a little bit. So I'm like, no, I can't be having that.
Yeah, I know. And I suffer with vertigo-like symptoms because of one of the Meniere's disease. So it's even taught me it stabilizes your body. The more you work on your muscles, you can stabilize yourself. So I'm not as afraid of falling, even though I still trip and still stumble.
Yeah.
Now I can catch myself, not even with my hand, just like I know how to move my body to counterbalance, and I have the muscle to be able to do that. So, yeah, as we get older, it, like I said, it's you don't have to believe me. Go read all the articles on it because
Oh yeah,
I know you
absolutely.
know, Cheryl, but I'm saying for anyone watching, you don't have to believe us, but it's
But
been proven.
and I really hope you start getting back to those little introductions to certain workouts and bringing that little motivation. Because even if I did a workout, just watching that puts a smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, I did feel really good after I did that. I'm maybe going to do a little something extra because I watched that and it inspired me to maybe do a little bit more walking around the house when I was, doing other activities. Just because it's like you were reminding me how good it is you feel after you finish a workout, get your body moving, So I hope you do start making those again. And even though you were
Yeah,
really sick and not doing well, but I find them
yeah.
myself personally motivating, inspirational.
Yeah, well, I know one of the reasons that I never got into fitness was because I didn't know anything about it or where to start or what anything meant. And you can go on YouTube and you can look up all of these videos, but a lot of the times you're like, I don't know what half of these words mean.
Yeah,
And knowledge is power. That's one thing that I've always believed for as long as I can remember. Knowledge is power. And I have the knowledge, and I have what a lot of people say is a unique way to break it down to where everybody can understand it. Well, the thing is that's because I have to understand things on its most
yeah,
simple form for it to make sense for me. And that comes from my background of being a corporate trainer, right? Not in fitness, but just in corporate training.
yeah,
Is there are people who are so smart about a subject, but couldn't tell you one thing about it that would make sense to you.
yeah,
So I try to fully wrap my brain around a subject so that I can then explain it in terms that people do understand and can then use. So, yeah, the move and chat will definitely be back. The movement will never be much just because it is an entryway, the gateway to your fitness, right? So
yeah,
it will always be very simple movements that I'll be doing, very, mostly just moving your legs and your arms while you're doing something, but it is that movement inspires more movement, like you said. So my hope is, even if you just watch the video and don't actually move with me, maybe you'll think about doing something later
yeah,
that either I talked about or explained, or just because you saw someone else moving,
yeah.
it really can make you want to get up and move.
Oh, I agree with
And
that. And
the
I
more
think there's
movement
another
you do, the
point
better.
too, Misty, if you bringing it down to where anybody can understand it, is even before I met any of you guys. Let's say I did go on and say, oh, a beginner class of whatever. Let's say I want to try beginner yoga. I had no idea what they're talking about, and that sure didn't look like beginner anything. Maybe you
Yeah.
went a little slower, but you still did every single exercise you do in a advanced class. Well, if I can't do your advanced class, there's no way I'm doing your beginner's class because you're doing exactly everything that you do in the advanced class. It's like beginners should be, you don't know how to do any of these movements, so I'm going to show you how to do these movements. But that's not
Yeah,
usually the
there
case.
yeah, beginner means different things to different people.
Yeah,
Beginner to me means you don't really know anything about it, but what can I teach you? And
yeah,
so, I even asked on the live stream the other day for different topics. So, I'll get into some that are a little bit more complex, like concentric versus eccentric movements. What are they? Why are they important? Well, there are reasons why they're important because one is easier than the other. And then there are modifications you can make to one to be able to do the other movement better, right? What's a TDEE? How many calories are in your food? Just like the other day, even Lori, who's gone now, she was saying, that she's starting keto again for all of the benefits of it for her, but she's not eating enough calories. My first thought is add fat. Why? Well, because fat has more calories per gram than either protein or carbs.
yeah.
Some people need to avoid that because it has more calories than protein or carbs, but most people don't even realize that. So,
Well, no, and that's
I'm
true.
sorry, my
I would
phone's going off
say,
in the corner.
A lot of people don't know that. I think some people
Calling me.
maybe
Hold on.
no
It's the
worries.
same scam. Sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. We're growing up. I don't think we ever looked at the nutritional factors, and I think
They weren't even
um
on food then.
yeah, but the only people I really noticed were like if their kids had really bad allergies or that, then I noticed people doing that. And I still don't know how much I really looked at it until I did something called the whole. Well, no, I take that back. When Rick first, they told us he had type 2 diabetes, and that's when we learned about keto and everything. So then I really looked at things, but then I wasn't really doing that with him. So we already kind of knew the basics, what you should eat, that kind of stuff. So then I didn't really always look at them. But then for myself, I did something called Whole 30, and you eliminate lots of things, and then at the end of the month you slowly bring certain things in to see how your body reacts to
Like
that.
an
And
autoimmune protocol kind of thing.
yeah, kind of. So what do you not eat? You don't have sugar. I think you don't have dairy, sugar, gluten, and I can't remember everything because it's been many years since I've done it. So then after the 30 days, you add one thing back. Let's say maybe it's cheese. Oh, you did good. You had cheese and whatever, you're fine. So then what I found for myself is beans and like legumes and beans and peas. It bloated me up. So like, but if beans are mixed, like if you're having hummus, no problem. But if it's a whole bean, or a pea, I would get bloated, and that kind of stuff. That's pretty much the only thing I really noticed. Once I was fine with bringing everything back in. But that's
Mhm.
when, for myself, that's when I really started reading labels and understanding labels for myself.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
was probably in my 40s. So
I'll be honest, when I first started, I couldn't tell how anything felt. I couldn't have told you any difference between anything. And that's the truth. Like, it wasn't until I was down probably to like under 200 pounds when I was like, everybody kept saying they felt bloated. I was like, I don't understand what that means. And that's because I was always bloated. I never wasn't. So I didn't understand. I didn't understand what it was like to feel like you have liquid under your body. Like, now I understand what that means. But I'll be really honest. When I first started, I couldn't tell you the difference between how I felt bad all the time.
yeah.
So now I'm able to determine those things. Like, well, and sometimes it's really obvious. Like gluten, I love it. It's great. I think it tastes delicious, but I will be just so congested
Yeah.
by the end of it.
It affects me too. I can have some here and there, but I can't have a lot. It affects me that way too. Not like a person who has the celiac disease, but
Oh
it
no.
makes me not feel great, and uh, bloating, and maybe more of my allergies come out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, we were saying earlier for like every gram of carb you have, it stores 3 grams of water with it. So if
yeah,
you're eating more carbs, you are a little bit more bloated. That's why so
yeah,
many people lose weight on keto because they drop those carbs, but they might not drop as much fat as they think as they are dropping water.
yeah,
But sometimes just dropping all that water and getting all of that bloat out of your system
yeah.
makes you feel better and then you do more. And then, but yeah, it's about finding what works for you.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why,
we're not pushing any diet on anybody.
yeah.
Do what's good for you. I just know the keto works better for me, makes me feel better. And
Mhm.
when I'm saying keto, I'm not going to go back to super strict. I think I'm going to go low carb, just because, and I'm not going to go too much. I'll do an update here soon. But a lot of my stress levels, I do need to have a little bit of carbs here and there, just so I don't, uh, you know, I don't know the word, but I don't be on the struggle bus I'm at. So I want to let myself have that little leeway if I want to have a chunk of pineapple, because I wouldn't do that on keto.
Really
But
strict food.
I don't have pineapple lying around. But I have that open for if I want to have that. You know.
Yeah, and again, it's whatever works for you. And a lot of people who, and I know you have said that this is something you struggle with, is binge eating
Yeah.
disorders, right? People with binge eating disorders, if they go on a very restrictive diet, it is a lot of times not good for them because they are so restricted that then they will binge.
Yeah.
And so part of it is finding that balance of what makes you feel your best,
Yeah.
but that is sustainable.
Yeah. And I think just right now, because the things that are going on in the stress level, I'm just gonna let myself have that leeway. And I do have something good to say. I haven't binge ate all this whole year, so
Yeah.
that's something. So
No, that's very impressive. It's
thank
a
you.
hard battle to fight.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
obesity is so much more than just you eat too much,
yeah, yeah.
which is what
It's
people
mental. What
who
we talked
don't.
about mental. We have to have our
Yeah.
mental. We have to have our brain fired up, and then we have to have our brain engaged on what we're doing to keep us healthy. Because it's so easy to check out. That's what I've done for the last 2 weeks. I've checked out, and
So
what am
you
I not
start.
doing? I'm not firing up my brain. I'm not having my brain say, "Hey, Cheryl, get to that boot camp. Even though you can only walk, just go." You know.
Yeah, just move your body. You'll feel
Yeah,
so much better when you do. I
yeah.
promise.
You're right.
It helps with everything
Yeah, it
else.
does.
That's not just for you, that's for everybody. Even if it's just, standing up and walking around your house or whatever, just if you move more, you will move more. It is how it works.
Yeah. You don't need
Now
to
you'll
run a
still need
marathon. You have to
recovery.
take those little baby steps to get to where you're going. So we got to do the baby steps to get where we want to go.
Yes, consistency plus time is
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah.
And consistency doesn't mean it's the same thing every day. It means it's your best
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
But you have to, that's
And
why I said, if you're wanting your summer body in 90 days,
yeah.
unless you're already really close to your summer body,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not going to happen. And if
Yeah.
it does, you're probably just going to put all that weight back on because you so heavily restricted yourself. Can you do it? Absolutely. Could I go on a super strict keto or carnivore right
Yeah.
now and drop the last 30 pounds that I'm wanting to lose?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would it be the healthiest way for me to do it mentally, physically, spiritually? No, it would not. And so I'm not doing that. But for
Well,
some
and that
people, they're at a certain level where they need to do that, right? Just to get started.
yeah.
Like I said, I have no problems with anyone who uses weight loss surgery as a
Yeah.
tool. I have no problems with anyone who uses the GLP-1 medications and it eliminates that food noise for them, which is part of what's driving their obesity, right?
Yeah.
You do whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But try to move that body.
Well, and while you're utilizing other forms of just besides exercise and food, if you're using any of those other tools, you still need to use our brains because we're not firing up our brain.
Well,
Then you're
sure.
not going to
Yeah.
follow through on, maybe you did lose that 50 pounds right away from whatever source you use. But if you didn't keep your brain involved, it is probably more likely you will gain that weight back a little bit more quicker because you're not focused on the long haul. You were just like, what can I do right now? And you just stuck with that. What can I do right now?
Yeah, you have to have your brain in it and your feelings out of it.
Yeah. You do. I'm a perfect example right now for the last 2 weeks. I'm right here doing that.
For me,
Live in action.
it's exciting. I like working out, but like yesterday, I had a bad mental health day. Well, the day before as well. I just totally shut everybody out on Sunday. And Monday, I spent I laid in bed for 10 minutes, which is something I just don't do. My alarm goes off and I get up. I laid there and thought about, could I say something and then not do workout? But then I'd have to lie. And I didn't really want to lie.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could just tell her it's really rough mental health. That I was like, no, because she knows better than that. She knows that I know better than that. She knows that I know that mental health is made better by movement.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, just get up and do it. And then I felt great. And then I was at the workout with her. And then the last half of the workout, my brain is telling me, you don't want to go to the gym. You can skip it. Yeah. Nobody will know. It's not a requirement. It's just something and then I got into the gym and my brain was just quiet. It was so nice. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is why I do this.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. This is why movement helps me. And do I still, even to this day, for almost 5 past 5 years and almost 3 years into fitness, do I still wake up in the morning and be like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like it. My brain doesn't feel like it, but my body's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with my body. My body can do it, but my brain doesn't feel like it. I just tell it shut up and then do it anyway. And then my brain's like, thank you. We feel better.
Yeah.
Thanks for not listening to us about how we felt about it. It's like, I don't want to be one of those crass people who say, just shut up and go to the gym. But to be honest, sometimes shut up, go to the gym, shut up, do the workout, go for a walk, ride on a bike, whatever it is, jump on a rebounder, whatever movement you can do.
It's like we kind of fight against our brain. It's like our brain so easily gives you the excuse, and you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of a good excuse. No, it's not.
Yeah, because your body's a cheater. Your body wants to be as lazy as possible and do everything in the laziest way possible. It wants to conserve energy.
Yeah.
But if you don't do anything, you are not conserving energy, you're losing it. So you got to do a little bit of something.
Big time. Well, we actually have made a little bit over the hours, so I'm going to ask you, Misty, what do you have coming up that you would like to share with everybody? Maybe
I just want to really quickly though. I want to just comment on Gina's comment because Gina, bored eating is a real thing, and there are a lot of people who do it. And it's the first step is identifying that that's something that you do. Because there will be people who just go and stand in front of their food and be like, what could I eat? Why don't you go for a walk and think about what you want to eat, right? Just try that and see, because you're probably just bored, right? Yeah, you felt like a sloth yesterday. You didn't want to vacuum. Don't feel about it. Just do it, right? You did it. And then guess what? You were vacuumed and then it was over. And then did you feel
good because now there's no more little whatever's on the carpet, and then you got fresh air, the carpet's clean. You're like, yay.
You got to check off something on your to-do list. Yeah, if your body says no, then no. But if your brain says no, shut up. Just do it. That's y'all. For those of you who know me, and for those who don't, I call that part of my brain Pete, because he is Mickey Mouse's nemesis. And so that is what I have named. It's really the devil just talking to me, trying to talk me out of all the right things that I know that I need to do. So I just tell Pete, shut up, sit in the corner. We're going to go move our bodies. And then 99 times out of 100, we feel better about it. And the 1% we don't, we still feel better than that we didn't do it. Right. So coming up, I have more. I love my new favorite epic disasters because I don't. The funny thing that I don't even think a lot of people realize is I don't actually like trying new things. Like it's very anxiety inducing for me, which is why I started showing the Get It Together for the last few years, because you kind of get to see that anxiety ramp up. And then sometimes y'all can really tell, because you'll be like, Misty, I can see you stalling. I know I didn't want to do it, but it's fun for me to try new things. Like it's not fun mentally, but again, shut up and do it.
Well, even today's, you kind of had a little, I don't want to ruin it for anyone that's watching, but I'll just say the chocolate shards, you kind of had a little.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was like, can I get past it? And then I was like, you've already eaten half the bar. You've obviously gotten past. It may not be your favorite, but you can do this. I have food aversions. I have periods where I just don't want to eat food at all and will just drink all my calories, which is how I got so heavy in the first place. It was more calories from juices and sodas and things that weren't food. And the food that I was eating was not making me feel my best, right? I have safe foods that I have 5 or 6 things that I could eat all the time. But those foods don't make me feel my best. They just had what had become safe for me, right? So it's getting outside of that. So that's why I like to do those things, just because it challenges me in doing something that I don't want to do. And anytime I can push myself outside of my comfort zone, I grow. So there will be more of those coming up. I'm going to do more food ones again, because I know, like we were talking about before this started, my most popular videos are still from when I was like 300 plus pound doing food reviews of regular foods. those aren't what I'm eating anymore. Could I eat them and still maintain where I am? I could, as long as I balance it out, but I just don't want to because they don't make me feel
Yeah,
my
they don't make us
best.
feel good. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm trying to do everything to make myself feel my best, right? So I try to eat things that will make me feel my best and will help me hit my macro goals and things like that. So there will be more of those. There will be more food ones coming up. The drinks, of course, I love a good tasty beverage. I just do them 0 sugar or low sugar now.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, very quickly, I'll get back into the Move and Chat series because I think that's something that I think a lot of people don't know where to start and they don't know what things are and they're too afraid to ask. But if someone can kind of break it down, that hopefully will be entertaining while doing it. And if nothing else, you just get a few minutes of movement in with me. I mean, I think that's a win for both of us. So even if, each video only hits one person in the right spot, or even if just one video hits one person, really, that's good enough for me to be like,
Yeah.
success. We did it. We did what we were going for. And that's to help people be the best version of themselves that they can be, while I still try to be the best version of myself that I can be. It's a daily process. It doesn't ever really get easier. I wish people say it gets easier. It doesn't. It just becomes more normalized in what you're doing. Sort of like with grief, right? It doesn't ever really get easier. People who said that lied to me. It doesn't get easier. It just becomes my normal and it's incorporated into part of who I am now, right?
Yeah. Oh, I agree 1,000,000% on that. Yes. They're like, oh, you should be done grieving. Well, okay, I'm glad you are, but I'm not. And I can do it my own way, just whatever. I don't understand that. If it's someone you really cared about and you really loved, you're going to hurt because they're not there because you want to see them. You want them to be there. So,
yeah, it's different for everybody. And there's also nothing wrong if you are okay that they're gone and that is that you're at peace with that and you're fine with that. There's nothing wrong. Everybody, but it doesn't mean that the process ever changes or necessarily gets easier for people. I will always have to keep a check of my weight. I will always have to monitor the food that I put in my body. I will always have to make sure that I'm not just drinking superfluous amounts of calories, right? Those are things that for the rest of my life, I will have to think about. It doesn't just fix itself for a lot of people. And that's why people lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, because you're on that. I'm just doing it to lose the weight. Do it to be the best version of yourself and what makes you feel the best. And all of these other benefits and then perks just sort of fall into place behind it. So
the
that's
work
sort of the
never
reason
ends.
why I like to do that.
The work is never going to end. We just have to maintain and be responsible where if we want to stay at wherever we end up. And it's still going to be maintenance. So it's just because we got there, you're done. You're not. Now the real journey is going, can I stay there? Am I going to do what's continually making me feel good? And I'm going to be the strongest, healthiest version I can be. So, I mean,
mentally, physically, and spiritually.
You're not done. You're just not done. You're still going.
Nope. And if life changes, and so you always have to have that balance, right? And if one thing is out of balance, if your physical is out of balance, how's your mental? How's your spiritual? Maybe if you work on those things, your physical will get back into balance, right? So for me, it's always a balancing act. And as I change, the act changes, right? And the balance changes. And like we talked about, balance is so important, not only in your physical body, but in all things that drive you through life. So anything I can do to help people not be as scared of it, because I was scared of fitness. And so I want to talk to me when I wasn't ready and be like, it's okay that you're scared. You can still do it. You may not look like I do when I do it, but I didn't look like I do now when I started either, right? So it's different for everybody.
Oh,
but I want to hopefully help whoever I can, just get that message that you're important and you deserve to be the happiest, healthiest version of yourself that you can be in all ways. So that's what I have coming up. I plan on doing my live stream this Thursday, rescheduled, but normally it is Mondays. Every Monday at 5:00, I do Monday night chats with your pal Misty, where I talk about whatever. Our friend Deanna does such a good job. She plans and she researches, and I just like, what am I going to talk about today? Sometimes I just make up the title as I'm putting the live stream up. I'll be like, what should I talk about? And sometimes I don't know, and we're like, it's whatever. But that's who I am and how I am, and I try to be authentically me. So if you're up for that, then stop on by. I'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And I love
Thank you
being
for
there.
having
And
me
I
today,
know
Cheryl.
everybody else loves being there because, like I said at the beginning, you are our pal Misty. Our pal Misty.
Yeah, y'all all collectively own me together, and I love every minute of it. And I appreciate y'all being there more than you know.
Well, thank you so very much, Misty. I love you, and I'm just always grateful that you want to spend a few moments with me. Very appreciative. Goodbye, everybody in the chat. Hello, whoever comes to the replay. We love you, and we hope you never forget how amazing you are.
See you real soon.
Bye, everybody.